So, the patch notes for the mid-season balance update for the Sizzle Season 2024 are officially here. They have just been shared on Nintendo's website. So we're going to be taking over a look at everything that you need to know, all the balance changes and adjustments and such. Let's jump right into this, and don't forget to leave a like on the video. So, releasing on July 17th, we have version 8.1.0. Changes to player controls made it so that when a player opens Umbrella's canopy, the canopy opens on other player screens quicker than before. This is to decrease the delay between the canopy opening on the user screen and the canopy opening on other player screens as much as possible. Made it easier to place squid beacons and big bubblers close to elevation differences. Made it so that the scattered weapon and gear of a defeated player vanishes quicker than before. Made it so that when a swimming player returns to Inkling form and uses a weapon right away, the ink on their body vanishes quicker than before. This is to alleviate the decreased visibility when the player is the same color as the ink on the ground, even when in Inkling form. Made it so that when a player is moving at the edge of an elevation difference, the phenomenon where the player moves back and forth between the higher and lower elevations in a short period of time on other players' screens will occur less often. Made it easier than before to jump while moving along the edge of terrain. Made it so that when equipping the Mink Decavitator and the Charcoal Decavitator and holding the ZR button, the sight that indicates where the attack will impact or terminate displays just like when not holding the ZR button. Moving on, we have changes to multiplayer. Specifications for some main weapons have changed. For the Aerospray MG and Aerospray RG, increase the radius of the ink splatter at the point of impact by approximately 3%. Blaster Custom Blaster, reduce the amount of time it takes to begin recovering ink after firing by about 1/20th of a second. Clash Blaster and Clash Blaster Neo, movement speed while firing is now about 4% faster. S-Blast 92 and 91, reduce the continuous fire interval by about 1/12th of a second. Carbon Roller and Roller Deco adjusted the damage fall-off rate based on distance for horizontal swings, allowing it to deal 50.0 damage and 100 damage farther than it did before. Slightly expanded vertical swings collision detection with players to make it easier to hit opponents. Dynamo Roller and the Gold Dynamo adjusted how horizontal swings fling ink to leave fewer gaps in inking or attacks than before. Big Swig Roller again, and Big Swig Roller Express. Actually, I completely read that wrong. I don't know why I thought they just accidentally put that twice. You know what it means. Increase the damage horizontal swings deal to distant opponents from 35.0 to 40.0. There is no change to the damage at distances that deal 50.0 damage or higher. Inkbrush and Inkbrush Nouveau slightly expanded the collision detection with players for the ink flung when swinging the brush to make it easier to hit opponents. Octobrush, Octobrush Nouveau, and Octobrush Replica slightly expanded the collision detection with players for the ink flung when swinging the brush to make it easier to hit opponents. Dowser Jewelries FF and Custom Dowser Jewelries FF reduced the amount of ink consumed when firing by approximately 14%. Reduced the amount of ink consumed by dodge rolls from 12% of the ink tank to 10%. Recycled Brella 24 Mark 1 and Recycled Brella Mark 2 reduce the time required for canopies lost being launched or broken by an opponent to recover about 1/3 of a second. So lots and lots of weapon adjustments here, lots of buffs. I'm not noticing really any nerfs here. Maybe some. I feel like maybe, I don't know though, because it kind of, well no, I guess this is a nerf? Yeah, okay, so there's a few in here, but generally it feels like mostly buffs. I'm gonna have to take more time to actually process these, but it's quite a lot, honestly. I'm kind of surprised by that. Now we have the specials. Reef Slider, increase the radius of the explosion area that deals 70.0 damage by about 10%. Increase the radius of the ink splatter from an explosion by about 5%. Ink Vac, made it so that when the ink shot impacts a wall, the explosion will also ink nearby ground. Made it so that when the ink shot impacts the ground, the explosion will also ink nearby walls. Super Chump, reduce the time between decoys falling and exploding by about 4.0 seconds to about 3.5 seconds. Trizuka, decrease the damage dealt to the big bubbler to about 67% of what it was before. Inkjet, decrease the damage dealt to the big bubbler by direct shots and explosions to about 67% of what it was before. And Kraken Royale, increase the amount of time to finish charging up a charge attack by 1/12 of a second. Points required for some special weapons have also changed. You can see what they are here. Not too many in that regard, but still some interesting changes to know about. In X Battles, change the condition to players' current tentative rankings during a season to display on screen from within rank 3000 to within rank 50,000. In Clam Blitz mode, made it so that when a player throws a clam or a power clam into the goal right before it is closed on their screen, the count will progress and the goal will open up again, even if at that point the goal was already closed on other players' screens, so long as it is within a certain amount of time since the goal closed. Other changes made it possible to continue pressing the A button to fast forward the animations on the screen, where XP and Grizzco points acquired are calculated after returning to the lobby or Grizzco. That's really interesting, so we'll kind of be able to skip through that a lot quicker. That will definitely be a really good quality of life change. Kind of a random one, but really good. In battles, made it so that pressing down will not send the Booyah signal for a short period immediately after a player is defeated. This change is to prevent unintended signals from being sent in the event that a player is defeated while trying to super jump to the spawn point. When a teammate is using a Booyah bomb, players can send a Booyah regardless of this change. In Salmon Run, made it so that pressing up will not send this way signal for a short period of time immediately after a player is revived from being in a life ring. This change is provided in unintended signals once again. This is really good actually. I'm just kind of realizing what they've done here. This is fantastic. I always accidentally end up spamming this way when I'm just trying to get some help. So that is fantastic. What a great change. That's actually going to make a pretty big difference. Made several changes to make it easy to use photo mode in private battles. Players can now start recon even when there are only players on one of the teams. During recon, this way in Booyah, and players sent by players on the other team will now display too. During recon, when another player repeatedly uses this way or Booyah in a short period of time, it will now be shown without omission. Shortened the amount of time until a match is deemed no contest when another player is disconnected immediately after starting a match. Made adjustments to make it harder to cause camera shake due to motion controls when pressing the ZR button to zoom the screen in Splatsville, Inkopolis Plaza, Inkopolis Square, and Order Sector. Adjusted the player's position when leaving Grizzco and Splatsville to make it harder to accidentally re-enter Grizzco by keeping the left stick tilted. Made it so that players you battled in X battles do not display in the users you have played with system feature. This update focuses on making changes to multiplayer balance and comfort of gameplay. We have made changes to Brellas to alleviate a phenomenon where, despite enough time passing since the opening of a canopy on another player's screen, they would sometimes still be hit by their opponent's shots and be defeated. They have a lot of text about the changes they've made to Brellas here. I'm not going to go through all of this, but if you do want to read it, feel free to pause the video. The main thing I want to get to right at the very end of these patch notes is what they say about the next update, which will be released at the end of the current season. So yeah, there are sort of more specific explanations here for each of the changes they made and the logic behind them, which is kind of interesting, but I know most of you watch this just for the sheer patch notes, so that's what I'm focusing on. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about all of these changes. I'd love to hear what you have to say. What do you think about everything? Definitely leave your thoughts below. If you made it to the end, be sure to comment Splat Gang so I know you did. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe and turn on notifications for more.